first thing we need to do is to export to Unreal, and we're gonna export as FBX files. We have some other ways to send like Alembic, but for what we're gonna be doing, FBX are gonna work fine. So we have the scene here, the environment, the characters. As I said, we have some different other ways to send. We even have a send it to Unreal command, but I'm gonna show you the more traditional way. I'm gonna select only the elements that I want to send. I don't want to send unnecessary stuff, so I'm gonna pick the hanger. I'm gonna pick all the characters and the cameras. So I'm gonna shift select those, and I'm gonna go to export selection, and I'm gonna select the folder where I'm gonna put this. So in this case here, I have a specific folder for recording this. So I'm gonna save here, and I'm gonna put the name of the export file, the FBX. It's gonna be Tokugai. Tokugai is like the main hero of the scene. I'm gonna export to Unreal. So that's the name of the exported FBX. We have some presets. We're gonna use the Autodesk Media and Entertainment preset. We need to make sure the animation is checked because we want to export the animation of the characters. And then we don't need to bake the animation in this case because the animation is already baked, but sometimes you're going to have to bake the animation if you have something that was procedurally created, for example. And we make sure we have the cameras checked on. And then we're going to export. It takes a while. You can see on the bottom left the progress, and it's going to tell you if you have any problem here. And we are good to go to Unreal. So we're going to start Unreal. I'm going to explain you a little bit of the UI here. So we're going to start in the Epic Games Launcher. You go to the library. You're going to have different versions of Unreal here. In this case, I'm going to be using the 5.3.2. It's like some versions back, but that's the version that I prepared this presentation last semester. So I'm going to be using this version of Unreal. Here we're going to have a recent project, but in this case, we're going to start a new one. We're going to use the blank template. You have some different blank templates for games, film and videos, etc. For cinematic, I want you to use the film video blank template. And then you can put a name. I'm gonna write cinematic 01. And then I'm gonna create. Make sure we have started content if you wanna, and click ray tracing because we wanna use ray tracing for the rendering. And create. So every time you start a new project or you load a new project, Unreal will restart. It's not like Maya, where you can load the different files and Maya will stay open. So we are here in the current UI I use for Unreal, but let's change this to the standard layout that you're gonna see when you start. That's what you're gonna be seeing here. So first thing you want to go is to editor preferences, and you're going to type pen, and then you're going to go down here until you find this invert middle mouse pen. Why that? That's because now you can control the viewport exactly like Maya. The controls will be the same thing, the three buttons to control the pen, the tumble, and the zoom, exactly like Maya. If you look here, we have also the same controls of Maya for selecting, moving, rotating. And it's the same shortcut, it's the exact same shortcut, and you have this little button here to get a quad view just like Maya. So very similar. We have outliner like Maya, but this case is on the right, not on the left. And then we have the details panel, which is kind of equivalent of the attribute editor in Maya. One thing that we do not have in Maya is this, the content browser, and this is very important in Unreal because Unreal is a game engine, so everything is going to be organized in different folders. Like for example, we have the content folder here, and those are real folders. If you click Show in Explorer, it will show you the correspondent folder in Windows or Mac OS. So it's a real structure of folders for your Unreal project. You can press that button to dock the content browser in the UI. I usually work like that. And so I want you, when you're starting to play a lot around with the UI, it is not that different than Maya. So now we need to import the FBX from Maya to Unreal. So we are going to import something in the content folder here. So I'm going to right click and then I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call this Tokugai, which is the name of the hero. So Tokugai sequence. And I'm going to open this folder and I'm going to right click and I'm going to import something here. So in this case, I'm going to look for the FBX that I just exported from Maya. And where was that? It was here. So Tokugai export to Unreal. I'm going to open. And we're going to have some FBX import options. The most important here is to click import animations because we want to have all the animations of the characters. So we're going to import all. And it's gonna take a while to start loading. Do not freak out. Do not think Unreal crashed. It really takes a little while to start loading the FBX. But you should see a confirmation of a progress bar really soon. So let's just wait some seconds here. And now you see the import mesh. So this takes a while, so I'm going to stop here and go to the next step, which is how to set up the materials from Maya to Unreal. So we have here a scene. I changed a little bit of the light, but let's just import what we got here. So we got a lot of things here. I organized this in some different folders to make our life easier, like animation models and sequences. But let's go to the models and let's see the one of the characters. For example, uh, you see I have the characters, I have the materials, I have different meshes here. So let's click and drag the character here. So that's how you put on your scene. You just click and drag from the content browser. And you can do the same, for example, with the environment here, the hangar. So I just click and drag is in the correct proportion that we exported from Maya. But as you notice, we have no materials. So we're gonna have to set up that. So let's click twice in this character. When you do that, you open a new editor where you can analyze all the elements of the 3D model and you can set up the materials or other important steps that you need for Unreal. So in this case, the character is very simple. We just have one material, but we need to create a material to put the texture. So we're gonna go add, but gonna click material, and we're gonna look for the new material. Let's uh, click here. No, let's rename this first. So let's rename. We're gonna call this Tokugai Matte. And okay, so now I'm clicking twice and I'll be opening another editor. This is like the material editor where you can plug the textures here. It's not that different from Hypershade in Maya. So I have a main node here, a main PBR material with a bunch of different slots where you can put base color, specular, etc. You can change the type of material here. For example, I can change the blend mode. For example, I can put instead of opaque, I can put some masked or translucent. If I do that, I'm gonna get some extra slots. For example, I get the opacity mask. But in this case, for the character, I'm gonna use the opaque, which is a simpler mode. I don't need the opacity in this case. So I'm gonna click and drag from base color. And then I have the search button. I can look for the node that I want to connect. I want a texture sample. So I'm looking for the texture sample, and this node will let me select a texture. So we have some different ways of putting the texture here. We can just click and type the name, or we can go into the content browser and click and drag in that correct slot. Uh, so actually, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move the editor a little bit here. I'm gonna make the editor a little bit smaller. Then I'm gonna look for the texture I need to use. In this case, it's gonna be Game Guy Armor. It's gonna be Game Guy Base. So I'm gonna just click and drag this to the slot. And now I have my base color. If you look in the left, I have a preview of the texture. I can click different shapes to see the preview, like just a plane or a cube, or maybe a cylinder. So I have different options to preview your material. So I need to connect other materials. So I need a metallic. So same thing, I'm gonna go for texture sample. So I can have the metallic here. And let's move again the editor a little bit here. So I need to find, not find, I'm gonna copy and paste this node twice because I'm gonna have a metallic, I'm gonna have a roughness, and I'm gonna have a normal. So basically, four main materials here. So let's make this editor smaller again, and I'm gonna look for the textures that I need again. So first one, the metallic. So I'm gonna click and drag, put on the metallic. Then I'm gonna look for specular, not specular, roughness. And the other one's gonna be the normal one. Connect here, and now I just need to find the materials. So roughness to the roughness slot, and then normal to the normal slot. All those materials together, and they're gonna give a very nice look to the character. They were all created in Substance Painter using a PBR shading material. So I have to click the Save File Asset. This is very important in Unreal. Every change you do, you have to save. That's different than Maya. In Maya, you don't need to do that. You only save the project. Now you need to save everything you change. Now I'm going to click twice in the character, and now I can put the material there. So now the character is looking great. So everything is looking correct. All the textures were correctly placed in the material, so it looks exactly like we wanted. You can use this editor to do a lot of tweakings in your material here. So I'm gonna show you one more thing here. Where is that? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna show you. This is a red setup. This is the sword of the character. There's a little bit different. I have two materials here, so I want to show you. I have the first material, very similar setup, just a bunch of opaque materials. But then I have this one that I wanted to show. It's a little bit different. That's a emissive material because I want to have this laser sword. So it's gonna glow with a massive color. and I wanted to show you how to set up that. It's a little bit different. I'm not using a specific map. I just created this here inside. So basically I have a vector and I have to look for the vector node here and the three vector node. It's actually a constant three vector node. So I'll type constant and I'm gonna find the three vector. So this three vector, you can just select a color, like a RGB color. And for example, I could have like a blue or something. And then I have a simple constant, just one value, and that value I'll use this value to control how much bright or not the emissive will be. And then I create a multiply node so I can connect both and then connect them to the emissive. Uh, Very simple way to do, and it can give you a very nice looking glow into the character. So in this case, not gonna save because the asset was already the way it should be. So that's what you need to set up materials. So now we need to think about the lights of your scene that you exported from Maya. So we have the character here, looking good with the light, but we have to understand what is going on with the light here. So when you have a new template, you're gonna by default get this lighting kit here. So you get a lot of things here. So let's go one by one. So you get a directional light. So that's the direction of the sun, basically, the direction where like your shadows will be pointing. You can rotate that with Control L, and then you just move the mouse around, and then you can move the direction of the light. And because this is a realistic model, depending of the direction of the light, you're gonna get like midday light, you're gonna get dawn, or you're gonna get night, or so you can change the time of the day. The second one is the exponential height fog that gives that nice fog in the horizon. If you turn that off, it looks pretty bad because in real life, as you go closer to the horizon, you get this nice fog. So Unreal is simulating that. And then we have the sky atmosphere. If you turn that off, you lose your sky. So that's basically the sky itself. The skylight is kind of self-explanatory. It is the light that's coming from the light of the sky atmosphere. So you turn this one if you want this to affect the models. Then you have the sky sphere. This is if you want, you can put a texture of a different light, a different sky, a specific one. And finally, you have the volumetric clouds. So it's very easy to get a very realistic sky in Unreal. It comes with the templates. But if you are starting from totally blank, you can actually create all those elements here. You can create the directional light, the sky sphere, the skylight, etc. But you also have like more traditional ones. You have like point light, spotlight, rect light. So you have similar HDR background. So similar light elements that you would have in Maya. So let me save this current level here. Uh, okay, so we don't